When did you know, and how did you know it was time to pivot?
That's a good one. Um, so upbringing, always had a passion for film. Movie sets, acting. My dad was just, it had been ingrained in my mind. So I always knew at some point that I would make film
Yeah.
or act or something like that. Gaming has always been part of my DNA ever since I was a kid. I go sneak, go mega games, go video nets, go play game. So those are things I'm passionate about. The things that drive me to pivot are usually I like if I can do something that I'm passionate about, which means I'm happy doing it. It's easier to grind because I know that I'm enjoying myself while I'm doing the work, even if I'm not making money at the time,
Yeah.
it'll pay off. Um, but I have looked at the greats. I've looked at people in industry who have performed, get to the point where you're not hot anymore. Then you start to dip, you can't perform, and then there's nothing else. So I've always felt like diversification and having, expanding your portfolio and different revenues and sources of income was important. Um, so I had said, okay, if I'm going to make film, I'm going to get training. So I went to the New York Film Academy to say, look, I can make films till I'm 90. I might not be able to be running on stage while I'm 90 the same way that I used to, but I can make films till I'm 90. So let me learn how to do that. Let me put one on the board. My first film was definitely dedicated to Loving Mary and my father. But I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I have training for that. I have ideas. I'm a creative. I can create ideas, create movies. But I don't want to rush. I'm going to do movies. I can do one movie every 4 years. I'm not, rushing for that. As far as I know that the quality and what I'm trying to build is strong. Gaming with me, I went to the E3 conference in LA. And what I saw was a world that Nigeria and Africa had barely touched. There were people involved in gaming in the industry here in Nigeria, but they hadn't really gotten the acclaim. So I said, okay, fine. If I can use my influence as Dr. SID to bring light into the gaming industry and open up a whole genre, a whole ecosystem that creates employment, wealth generation for new people to take their passion of playing video games into a career, then that will be something that I'll be proud to say that I was part of because I also love it. So venturing into gaming, looking at the global space, understanding that it's the same way mobile phones came from abroad. Now everybody's using mobile phones in Nigeria, film, Nollywood, Netflix. Everything sort of comes to Africa at some point, even though it may be delayed, but it still trickles down and it comes. So the idea was, how do we start building this ecosystem so by the time Nigeria or Africa is ready, we have something that is built and we can move. And that's pretty much what I've been focused on. I've had a lot of ups and downs in that because obviously there is a culture shift when it comes to gaming. Waste of time, it's not productive, what's the end point? So having that struggle to change mindsets about what gaming is about. I always like to be careful when I say gaming. I'll rephrase and say video gaming because gaming is generally associated with sports betting. So video gaming as a competitive sport, as a career, that's really what I'm trying to build now. And I'm very confident that in the next five years, Nigeria will be on the map as one of Africa's leading global video gaming powerhouses.
The work you're doing. So, when when you try to like do something new in a country where you're not just enterprising, you're also you also have to re-engineer society.
Yes.
Music did it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Once upon a time, the riffraffs were running the asylum. According,
Yeah. The inmates are running the prison.
yeah, back then, when your parents didn't let you do things in
Bruh.
music, like that was retirement home for the ne'er do wells.
Mm.
Gaming has had that for the longest
Still.
because it still has that because the path to financial critical mass hasn't really become clear.
Yes.
And how are you how you how do you have to do to solve that?
So it's a very simple but also very difficult problem. It's good you mentioned music because I liken music to the growth of gaming, video gaming, because when you look at the way music started, yeah, geez, wow, what kind of rubbish is this? Now someone say, you mean Wababalo? Like your father, his fathers are now proud to say my son is a musician. Do you know what I mean? It's a thing of status. You understand? Burna Boy's mom is his manager. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's now switched because success has been identified. There was a pathway to revenue generation and financial independence. And that's because there was a struggle. There was people who fought for it, people who didn't make any money, people who just were doing it for vibes and made it attractive.
Who played for passion?
Yeah, exactly. People made it attractive to the point say, hey, I can put money in this. You know what I'm saying? And that's because now there's a global engine. Everybody's looking for international deals, international touring. There is actually now a pathway to make global revenue from music. It's the same thing. That industry existed globally. Nigeria started slow. We built our way up into that, and that's the same thing with esports and gaming. Some of the biggest events worldwide are actually video game tournaments. There was an event called the Internationals for a game called Dota 2, which you rarely even play in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, I think it was 2023 or something like that. The prize pool was $40 million. Largely part of that was community funded from people buying battle passes in the game. You know what I mean? If you look at video games like how would you start the English Premier League, right? It's really about eyeballs. It's about how many people watch. The more eyeballs you get, the more people are engaged, the more revenue you can generate from sponsorships and advertising, and then the more revenue that circulates into the ecosystem to pay gamers, to pay team owners, to pay or team tournament organizers and things like that. Right now in Nigeria, the youth around the world actually watch more gaming content than they listen to music or television.
For real?
Yes.
Where the numbers from?
I'm telling you, it's absolutely crazy. If you look at a 12, 13-year-old, he's not listening to an album. He's not watching a TV series. He's watching Ninja or Kai Cenat or somebody playing video games on YouTube or something. The younger generation right now are consuming more gaming content than they are actually saying, I want to listen to the next album by this person.
And they play a lot more games.
Yes. You get. So when you understand the trajectory of where these kids are going, you try to meet them where they're at and create an environment that allows them to thrive in a safe space. You get, and put guardrails so that people are not, falling off. So if you understand that global trajectory of not just the youth in general, where the global market is, you understand that, look, if they come Niger, waiting our own setup, be like how we want to take arrange them, how we want package them. So for me, it's also about making sure that we don't lose the essence of what it is to be a true gamer while building an audience that would gravitate towards it. So one of the projects I have been working on is something called the KLL, which is the Contender Legends League. It's a franchise league which is owned largely by celebrities who own teams, and their fan base is what drives the viewership, so that a young guy who plays soccer or football in his house can become a professional gamer and take his family out of poverty. Do you know what I mean? Some of the biggest celebrities in Korea are gamers, almost at par with K-pop. You know what I mean? They ask a random girl, hey, what do you want your boyfriend to be? Say a gamer or a K-pop artist. Because the same way you say, I want to date Davido, I want to date Wizkid, I want to date Don Jazzy, you know what I'm saying? Because it's now popular and attractive. So I know I have no misconceptions that it's going to take some time, but it's what I do. We work hard to make sure that we get there.